기사부대 Hamon the beat!
The stone mask is an ancient and powerful artifact introduced in Part 1 of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. It acted as the catalyst for the series, which eventually thrust the Joestar bloodline into an eternity of fighting evil. However, this was not the start of the mask's history. In this video, I'll be going over the origin of the stone mask, and talk about just how far its vampiric powers can go. Hundreds of thousands of years before the series, the world was ruled by an ancient superhuman race known as the Pillarmen. They were the apex predator. They consumed humans, and were also worshipped by them as gods. Their only weakness was an inability to survive in sunlight, so they lived underground. In 8000 BC, a Pillarman named Kars became dissatisfied with these limitations, and crafted a stone mask, hoping it would unlock new potential within them. The mask is activated when it comes in contact with blood. It then extends numerous spikes into the back of the wearer's head. The purpose of this was to unlock latent potential within their brain through a form of acupuncture. Kars discovered that when the mask was used on a human, it would turn them into a vampire, giving them superhuman strength as well as the ability to create zombified minions, along with an adversity to the sun. However, the skulls of Pillarmen were too thick for the mask to work properly, so the mask is only able to partially unlock their potential. This was still enough to make Kars significantly more powerful than the other members of his race. The other Pillarmen began to fear the threat Kars posed to the world and decided to execute him. However, they were no match for the new powers of him and his co-conspirator SCDC. The two of them then wiped out almost every Pillarman, with the exception of two infants named Wham and Santana. The four of them began to journey the world in search of a way to improve the mask. In 3000 BC, the Pillarmen began to appear in human history, kidnapping humans for experimentation with the masks. It is around this time that the Ripple clan formed to stop the Pillarmen and the vampires they created. Kars discovered that the source of power he needed for his ascension was the Super Aja, a flawless red stone of Aja that was rumored to be in possession of a Roman emperor. A new stone mask that contains a slot to hold the Super Aja was created. Kars, Wham, and SCDC left for Rome, leaving Santana in Mexico. The three of them nearly wiped out the Ripple clan, but were still unable to find the stone. In 50 BC, they were forced to hibernate, and hid underneath the Roman Colosseum until their power was restored. In Mexico, Santana would also enter hibernation, embedded in a stone pillar surrounded by masks. Between the 12th and 16th century, an Aztec tribe rose to power using masks left behind by the Pillarmen. This tribe mysteriously disappeared. In 1858, a stone mask was excavated from an Aztec ruin by a team containing Will Antonio Zappelli and his father. While voyaging home, his father donned the mask and slaughtered the crew, but was vanquished by the sun. Zappelli escaped and traveled to Tibet to study Hamon and combat the mask if it ever resurfaced. The mask drifted away to an unknown location, and in 1868 it was found and put on an art auction. It was purchased by the aristocratic Joestar family, and was kept on the wall of their manor for many years. In 1888, young aspiring archaeologist Jonathan Joestar took interest in the mask and researched its properties. His adopted brother Dio Brando planned to use the mask to kill Jonathan and take his inheritance. Dio discovers the vampiric power behind the mask and chooses to take it for himself, becoming a vampire. Jonathan is trained in Hamon by Will Zappelli, who wishes to have the mask destroyed. With the help of Robert E.O. Speedwagon and other Hamon users Dyer and Straits, Jonathan seemingly vanquishes Dio by decapitating him. Speedwagon then finds the mask and destroys it with a sledgehammer. In 1889, Dio ambushed Jonathan while on a trip to his honeymoon in America, stealing his body and resting at the bottom of the sea for the next 100 years. In 1910, the Speedwagon Foundation was founded, dedicated to assisting the Joestars in containing supernatural phenomena. In 1933, the Nazis discovered the Pillarmen in Rome, 5 years before the end of their slumber. In 1938, Santana is discovered by the Speedwagon Foundation. Straits betrays Speedwagon, and takes one of Santana's masks to become a vampire himself. Santana is discovered by Rudolf von Stroheim and his troops, who then took him to a lab in Mexico to run tests and await his awakening. Straits is defeated in New York City by Joseph, who has become an amateur Hamon user. Joseph arrives in Mexico just after Santana awakens. Joseph defeats Santana, and his hibernating corpse is kept under surveillance of the Speedwagon Foundation. Partnered with Will's grandson Caesar Zappelli, Joseph travels to Rome to confront the three remaining Pillarmen when they awaken. The duo discover that they are no match for the Pillarmen in their current state, and train under Lisa for a month. SEDC locates and confronts Joseph near the end of his training. Joseph defeats him, but not before he is able to send the Super Aja away to Kars. Joseph, Caesar, and Lisa head to Switzerland to intercept the Super Aja. Caesar is killed by Wham, leaving only 2 Pillarmen and 2 capable Hamon users. Joseph defeats Wham in battle. Kars nearly kills Lisa but is stopped by Joseph. Kars is defeated and becomes embedded on a bed of spikes. Stroheim and his troops arrive to kill Kars with ultraviolet lights, but inadvertently activate the mask, which Kars had secretly donned with the Super Aja. Kars had finally fulfilled the mask's purpose, becoming the ultimate being. Now immune to the sun's rays, Kars is even able to use Hamon without issue. Joseph uses the Super Aja against Kars, reflecting his Hamon away and causing a volcanic eruption that launched Kars into outer space. Unable to return to Earth, Kars would enter an eternal hibernation. With the threat of the Pillarmen completely eliminated, a long period of peacetime occurred. The practice of Hamon was essentially ended, with the only remaining user being an aging Joseph Joestar. In 1988, the threat of the mask returned once again, when Dio unexpectedly surfaced in Egypt, now with the body of Jonathan Joestar. Joseph partnered with his grandson Jotaro Kujo. Along with the other Stardust Crusaders, they would journey to Egypt and defeat Dio for good. In 2001, 6 months after the takeover of Passione by Giorno Giovanna, the threat of the Stone Mask would resurface for the final time. Giorno set his sights on eliminating the rogue Passione narcotics team, led by Massimo Volpe. He calls upon former Passione member Panicotta Fugo to defeat the team as a test to prove his loyalty. Fugo partnered with Sheila E. and Canola Morolo to track down Volpe and eliminate him. Volpe had learned of a remaining Stone Mask located in an abandoned Nazi bunker. The narcotics team planned to combine the regenerative powers of the mask with Volpe's drug-creating stand Manic Depression to make Volpe into an unstoppable superhuman. The Speedwagon Foundation had secretly brokered a deal with Giorno to ensure the destruction of the mask. Fugo would eventually succeed in his mission, and Morolo destroys the mask before it is able to be used. With the extent to which the mask was featured in the early parts of Jojo, it was quite difficult to include the full scope of its influence. I hope you have gotten a new understanding of the Stone Mask from this video, and possibly even learned new things about the series' most iconic artifact.